Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
All right, welcome back to the Jeff Crilley Show. One of the things that we see all too often is someone will get out of prison and then we hear the stories about them, 6 months later falling right back into the same old patterns and then going back to prison. My next guest is really helping change that narrative. Susan Stevens is with Exodus Ministries. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, tell us more about your ministry. How does it work?
Well, we serve previously incarcerated women that are reconnecting with their children and trying to rebuild lives. So most of our women have found Christ in prison. They know they don't want to go back, but they don't know what that looks like. They came from a lot of dysfunction, bad choices, but they don't know how to live differently on the outside and raising their children. So that's what we provide. They actually apply for our program while they're still incarcerated, and if they're accepted to their program, they come directly from prison. So they know to get their bus pass when on their release date to Dallas, and we'll go pick them up at the bus station and help them start their new lives.
Tell us a success story. I noticed that even on your staff, you have some really great success stories, don't you?
We do. We have, there's 4 people on our staff, 4 women on our staff currently, and 2 of them are graduates of the program. So Courtney Starr is our case manager. She meets with the girls every week and keeps them on track, helps them set up their goals and kind of stay focused on what they're trying to do. And then she's also our resident manager. So she and her son, Caleb, live on property, and they run curfew at night, and they're there for the weekends. And so she's actually got 2 jobs. She graduated in 2014. She has an incredible testimony herself. She was a 12-year drug addict in and out of prison, made some poor choices, had never really been a mother to Caleb. And with Jesus Christ, she has turned that all around. So she has been on staff for about 1.5 years and is just a beautiful person and does an incredible job.
And that probably helps her relate to the women you're ministering to.
Oh, absolutely.
They know she's been there. It's not just somebody who is projecting or you should do this or you should do that. She's lived it.
Yes, she has definitely lived it.
What are some of the challenges facing women as they get out of prison? I mean, without organizations like yours, is it normal for them to go back into the same communities and same troubles and friends that they had before?
Absolutely. What happens often is they're released, and even if they're choosing to live differently, that all sounds great. But the bottom line is they don't have a job. They don't have money coming in. Maybe their family has said, this is it. I'm done. I'm tired of trying to bail you out. Or maybe their family wasn't supportive in the first place, which is why, they left at 12, 13, 14 years old. So even if they have high aspirations to change their lives, what they know is the bridge that they used to live under or the crack house where they know the people and they know what they would have to do to be able to stay there tonight or to eat dinner. And so even if they have high hopes and big dreams of changing and changing the trajectory of their lives, they don't really have the ability or the funds or the location to be able to do that. So the bottom line is probably within a week or 2 or even a month of being out, they end up going back to where they know they can at least spend the night or get some food or get some money.
Wow. Susan Stevens is my guest. She's with Exodus Ministries. That's exodusministries.org. So tell us how the women find out about you. Do you have a ministry that goes into the prisons so that they know that there's help once they get out?
We have in the past, and we are starting that up again in the spring. But we do have our brochures and our information in the prisons across the state of Texas. Our chaplains know about us. And the word of mouth is alive and well. That grapevine, they know about us before we can even get the information inside. So,
and you said they apply. How do you, as you go through the applications, are they writing essays? Are they telling you their story? Or how do you choose who to help and who you shouldn't help? Or how does that work?
Well, it's a simple 12-page application.
Okay.
So it keeps them pretty busy. And we're just asking what what is their story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily essays, though there are some places for them to write in a bit of their story. But we want to know why they're incarcerated this time, how many times they've been in, and what it's for, how many children they have,
Mm-hmm.
and what their ages are, and what their goals are. What have they been doing while they're in prison? Have they been attending Bible studies or taking college classes or working on themselves? We also have an assessment that asks them basic questions. How do you feel about this? What do you think about that? But what it tells us when we plug all the numbers in, it actually tells us what category they fit into. Do they just need a free room and board?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not our program. We
Right.
are a free room and board. We don't charge them rent, but that's not what our purpose is. Or they might fall into the category where they figure if everybody else would just do what they need them to do, they would be just fine. And we have an epidemic of that in America,
Right.
and we only have 1 year. So, or it's telling us, you know what, I've got a problem, and I'm pretty sure my problem is me. Now that we can work with.
It is Christmas time, and so let's talk about the faith component. I mean, that's a really big part of this helping change lives, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's huge.
And tell us why a true kind of recovery or breaking free from the prison bars that, we all have, why is that so important?
Well, because recidivism is a hard word to say, but them going back to prison, going back to what they know is a huge percentage unless they actually have the wherewithal and the desire to change and help to change the trajectory of their lives. And we believe that God is ultimately the healer of all things. And we just help them to walk that path and to find him and to seek him and to figure out how that plays into their life and their mothering.
Have you found, like right now, I think you told me off air, you have 8 women that you're helping with their children?
We do. We currently have 8 residents.
Would you like to have more? Is that
Absolutely. We have an apartment complex down near downtown Dallas, and we have 14 units. We're actually considered full because even though we have 8 women currently here, we have 6 others that are incarcerated right now that have already been accepted into the program. So once they're accepted, we hold their apartment. So we are considered full. We do like to stay full. We have big plans to expand because we're the only ones that do what we do in the whole state of Texas. There's 13,000 incarcerated women in Texas, and we have 14 spots.
Wow.
We're the only ones that actually have a residential program where they live on property for an entire year. We also offer programming and counseling, help them get jobs and finish their GEDs or go back to college wherever they are in their walk, as well as learning how to parent. All of our women have children, but most of them have never been mothers. Somebody else has done that while they've been incarcerated or off doing what they're doing. So that's a huge part of what we're doing is teaching the parenting component so that their children don't follow in their footsteps.
And I know that you obviously need donations. All nonprofits could use donations. Talk about where the money goes and how it's spent, and how you reassure the person who's investing in you that you're spending it wisely.
Well, we provide all of their needs while they're in our program. We don't, like I said earlier, we don't charge them rent. We don't charge utilities. We don't charge for bus passes and all of the things that we provide. We provide the basic necessities of toilet paper and paper towels and dish soap and laundry detergent, clothing. When they come, they arrive with the clothes that they have on their backs. And obviously they need something to sleep in that night and something to wear to the next day. So we start from scratch and we provide all of that along the way.
And you're changing the lives not only of the women but their children too. If the mom's not getting help, is it pretty easy for the child to fall into trouble too?
Absolutely. One of our huge success stories, because we have many, but one of our moms that graduated this year actually came to us, and her only profession that she had ever known was prostitution. And her mother was a prostitute. And her grandmother was a prostitute. So when she came to us, she's got 4 beautiful young girls. And it's pretty evident that unless there's some huge intervention and a way for her to change the trajectory of her life, it's a good possibility that that's the only profession that they would know as well. And so they've been in the program for a year. She graduated earlier this year and is doing really well. She works at a local catering company. Her kids are in school, and they're all doing very well.
That's awesome. You're doing a wonderful service to our city. How do people get in touch with you? How do they donate?
They could go onto the website, which you mentioned earlier. It's exodusministries.org, or they could call into the office if they had any questions or wanted to drop by. We are willing to help them help us in any way that we can. So we take money, we take volunteers to help with our children or our office skills, or some of our women. We have mentors, or some of the things that we use and the consumables that we use up and need again, like the toilet paper and the paper towels.
Susan Stevens, my guest, exodusministries.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, let's talk about energy independence. Is solar energy finally getting its day in the sun? That's just ahead.
You're listening to The Jeff Crilley Show on Talk Radio 1190.